Welcome to Backstage 421, the musicians only podcast, with your host, author, and music lover, Charles Campbell. Charles will have an awesome array of guests from many genres of music, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. By the way, Ray Mattis is the composer of this awesome intro music.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Backstage 421, the Musicians Only podcast. I am your host, small town horror author Charles Campbell, and I am here today with some returning guests, and I am so happy they agreed to come back on the show. They have recently released an amazing album, and before we came on air, I was just telling them my favorite song on the record keeps changing, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But their latest and greatest album is called Aces Are High. And if you guys haven't had a chance to listen to this, go find it, go listen to it. I'm going to put links in the podcast notes below where you can actually purchase this wonderful album and check it out. But anyway, thank you for coming back on, Grace and Aaron. I am so happy to have you.
Oh, pleasure to be here. Thank you for having us.
You again.
Yeah. Well, it's been awesome. And, I've put this record on rotation pretty steadily since it came out. And I want to get into, what you guys had to deal with in making this record, what the process was of getting it out there. But with that being said, I'm going to be quiet and kind of fill me in and my listening audience in on the concept of this record. That's one thing that hit me when I listened to it the first 2 or 3 times. Concept albums for me now are a rarity. A lot of times they're kind of, not everyone does this, but a lot of artists now kind of just throw songs together, throw it against the wall and just put everything in, one mix, and it kind of bounces all over the place. But for me, this is kind of a concept album, and I don't know if I'm reading that correctly or not, but that's the way I hear it. So talk to me a little bit about this album, how it came to be, and what you guys did to put it together. I know it's a lot.
No, it's really cool you say that, because I think, I sort of know for sure this album, we were the clearest we've ever been on what we wanted to achieve. And it almost felt as though the album was done in our mind before we went in the studio. And I think as well, it's our third album. We've also done a couple of EPs with our producer. So we can we don't even really have to convey that strongly what we want, because he tours with us now. And so he knows exactly what we like to hear. So it was very it was so much of an organic process. And we've also been very strong, with Saving Grace, our last album, we definitely wanted a specific guitar tone, and we were very clear on it, and even more so this time, but it had drastically changed. So I think it's given us a different, I think our key sound is there, you can tell it's us.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
cool.
It's definitely you, but dude, these songs, they kind of flow. One flows right into the other one, and that's why they keep changing order in my brain on which one I like the most.
Oh, nice.
But anyway, keep going. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's fine. I'll just ramble on forever if you don't stop me.
Oh, no, you're good.
And I think, we definitely wanted the fuzz tone on the guitar, which is something we've completely steered against.
We didn't want it at all before, did we? And this time around, it was all about the fuzz.
Yeah, the guitar. We worked a lot on getting the guitar tones, and it's nice to see. We were in the studio for about 3.5 months, so it's definitely you're switching between songs that you're recording, so everything really is done as a whole. And I think that's something that is being lost a lot now with sort of people are veering against putting a whole record out at once, and they're doing a lot of singles, and so it was a real treat to be able to work on a whole body of music,
because all 3 albums have been like that, haven't they? They've all been a body of work,
apart from the EP.
Apart from the EP, that was different. But the 3 albums that we've released have all been the same thing, where there's a theme going through the whole thing.
We know exactly what we want at the
story
time.
Going through the whole thing. Totally.
Yeah.
Well, I've listened to everything you put out now, but this one has hit me the hardest. So Great job, guys. And I want to talk about all these songs. I don't want, I know you guys have limited time, so I don't want to keep you forever and ever, but geez, I have a lot of questions about these things. Trail to Avalon. I love the way you went into that, Aaron. Your vocals were really, they were smooth, man, and it felt good in my headphones. And then when you came in, Grace, tell me about that song in particular, how that came to be. What gave you the inspiration for Trail to Avalon? I love that song. Maybe that's my favorite now. That I'm nuts over changing these favorites. But anyway, Trail to Avalon. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, so it was, the concept is very much a case of there is a place where we're all aiming to get to, and it could be anything in your life, where it could be like, for us it was like the album, getting the album to where we want it to be, and the Trail to Avalon is obviously a part of the King Arthur mythology type of thing. So Avalon, Lady of the Lake sort of thing. It's kind of like the Holy Grail, and maybe this album is our Holy Grail.
Kind of like the journey there.
Yeah, the journey. Yeah.
Excuse me. And then with the melody, it was one that we really wanted it to have like a very rhythmic melody. I see the road, the flames have died, all but inside. So it kind of jogs along on its own, and then of course you just like it just crashes into the chorus with and it just kind of explodes. And it's one of the songs when we were in the studio, we were like, oh, we need to put this in the tour set straight away, because it's like we're doing it next year on the Aces of High tour, but it's going to be really fun live as well.
And it's, for me, like also one of the highlights, apart from the hitting the hard parts when you come in, is like in the background you can hear like the sirens, like then high pitches. That's great.
Yeah,
singing,
there's a lot of like angelic kind of.
Yeah, the angelic.
I was actually going to bring that up. That caught my attention too. That was excellent. I mean, I know this is going to be a gush fest for this record, but there's not a song on here that is weak. Every song is strong. So you guys are amazing. I loved every one of them. And like I said, my favorite keeps changing. So with that said, and we'll talk about more of these songs. Do you guys have a favorite off this record? Is there one that sticks out above the rest for you? Are they all equally on the same level for you?
Ooh.
Well, I think for me, my favorite at the moment is still Golden. So
I really enjoy performing Perfect Stranger live a lot, and I really, that's kind of like a choppy, it's kind of got a different vibe. So we really enjoy playing that one. But then like we've been opening our tour sets with Play My Game, and
I love that one too.
So then hours are changing a lot as well. And no doubt when we start playing them live, they'll keep changing again. And
Oh man, yeah. Well, talk about Perfect Stranger. This is on my rotation of, I wrote them down. They keep changing, man. Perfect Stranger was another one. What went into putting that song together? And I know you told me your collaborative process in the previous podcast, but kind of refresh my listeners a little bit on your process of putting a song together, from the lyrics to the music and how you blend them. But Perfect Stranger was awesome.
I'm going to let Grace explain this, but I would just want to say that Perfect Stranger was about us when we met. So
nice.
It was because when we first met, or when we first saw each other, we were convinced we'd met before. So it was like a very weird, like, so where have we met? Kind of, and
literally we both felt it.
It was a really strong feeling. We were both trying to work out where it was, and
we literally never had met each other.
No, so it's kind of like the whole Perfect Stranger, like weird thing. But when we write songs, Aaron pretty much exclusively does all the lyrics, and then I do the music and the melody. So I can't remember with Perfect Stranger. I think Aaron had written the verses actually, and then with the chorus evolved over a little bit more time, I think.
Right.
But that's quite a special one for us because of that.
Well, I marvel at your skill, Aaron, as a lyricist in putting the lyrics together. I'm a writer, so I kind of know what it goes into the creative process and where you have to pull things. But man, you can write books, man. You have some great lyrics in here, and and I'm amazed at where they come from. It's just good. I don't know what else to say. My listening audience, go pick it up. I'm going to put the link below in the podcast notes. You got to go get this record. It will blow you away, I promise. I want to back up just a little bit. You did have some challenges. I want to talk about those. I don't want to be negative or anything, but I want to talk about some of the challenges that you had in getting this record out. Some of the obstacles you had, and I'm so glad people, if you people waited on this, it was very much worth the wait.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for your patience on waiting on this on their behalf, because it was definitely worth it. The end product was excellent, and let's talk about the challenges just a little bit. We won't get too negative, but I'd like to hear into what obstacles you had to bust through to get this thing out.
Well, I want to say the very first obstacle was we were actually, throughout the 3.5 months when we were staying at our producer's week, and it was during the winter, so January, February, March time, we stayed in our van, didn't we? We were living in our self-converted camper van.
And it was so cold.
It was
cold. Ridiculous. And like the toothpaste was frozen when we woke up.
Oh my God.
So that was
the first challenge.
The first month was okay, then we kind of got a little bit. But yeah, and of course we crowdfunded for the album like we have done for the last two. So we're really lucky that we're able to fund the album and put the time into doing it. And then the vinyl issues kind of started. So we put the vinyl order in, and then it was delayed actually by 3 months. And we'd given ourselves a couple of months leeway. It was delayed for a really long time. We had to delay our release, and then when we got it, every single vinyl, every single sleeve was printed wrong. So we couldn't even switch them around. They were absolutely completely wrong. And it's when people have been waiting, like you say, people have been waiting a really long time and they've invested in us. It's like we feel like we have such a responsibility to make sure things are right when they go out. So it was like we could put them out, but we can't, we ended up sending it all back and making sure it was all made right, so, and then it came
like a 9-month project ended up being a year,
over basically. A year,
Well, guys, and I know, I've gotten to know your fans a little bit through the Facebook page, and I'm a fan now for sure. I'm not one of the OG fans, but I'm definitely going to be with you for the duration now, because I think you're excellent. But for the people who waited on this, you got something special when you got it in the mail. I was excited when this thing came in the mail, and I want to show people what the vinyl actually looks like. This thing is beautiful. I know you guys are proud of it.
Yeah, very much so.
My favorite pad.
Yeah.
Check that out. What? Are you kidding me? And it sounds really, really good. Sounds really good. So you guys did a great job. Whoever put this together for you did a great job. So
thank
you.
We're back on the positive side.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Well, I do want to get into a couple more songs if I can. I did say that 5 minutes until midnight is my current favorite. That tells a little story. Tell me, what was the concept for that song? I'm going to ask about song concepts all the time, so I apologize, but I love hearing the origin stories of these songs. So what came into 5 minutes until midnight?
Well, for me, there's a couple meanings. The first one was the fact that we were writing this song, or should we say we'd written this song, and we were trying to record it, and for some reason, as per usual for us, the one song just didn't quite work. And then if we don't think a song works, we don't record it, or we don't carry on with it.
And we'd sort of, like I said, when we were in the studio, we're chopping between each song, we're like adding sections, working on the songs. And so we'd kind of got towards the I think we were like 2 days from when we needed to provide the masters to Abbey Road to have it finished. And we had finished this song, and we went down the pub with our producer, and we were just talking about this song. What can we do? Why isn't it just sitting right? He really liked the song, and we were it's just something. And we said, okay, we went back to the studio, and it was like 11 o'clock at night or something. And he played it loud, and he was like, right, let's get a nice mix. Let's all hear it. And I sat like this, and I looked up, and he was like, let's do another one then.
He said, you don't like it, do you? She went, no. Like this. And he said to me, do you like it? I went, no. So what are we going to do? And I was like, well, we're either going to have a 9-song album. And he said, well, we could just write another one. And this is like 1 day to go, literally. So that's what we did, didn't we?
and then it's so crazy because we'd been trying it, and we should have learned this from our experience before. But then we've got like tons of song ideas on our phone, on our iPhone notes and stuff. So we just went through and instantly we played a little voice note that we'd recorded, and we were like, yes, let's do it. And we set up
it's been sitting in the wings for a long time, that song, hasn't it? Really,
and
5 minutes to midnight.
And one of the things in there is I'm leaning into, and we have like a key phrase for our year.
Yeah.
And this year it was lean in, like, because we're coming up against a lot of challenges, and rather than like feel scared and like go small, we were like, right, let's lean into the challenges. So then we kind of put that little section in the song to like be part of this.
Wow. I love
so
that.
we literally soaked up the pressure, didn't we? And we just literally said, like, let's just go for it. And we worked all night and all the next day to get this song sorted out. And it was quite relevant in the fact that it was 5 minutes to midnight, because we literally had to get stuff to Abbey Road.
And there's actually our mix engineer films a little video at 5 minutes to midnight. And he's like, we're just bouncing, guys, 5 minutes until midnight. It was great.
Oh my God, that's amazing. And is that the simple fact that was the last song you put together? Is that why it's last on the album? Because it's a great ending for me. It ties it up.
I think it just the way it went, when you're listening to the album in full and you're trying to sort out through the theme of the song what song goes where, or the album, sorry, what song goes where. And that 5 minutes to midnight literally was the perfect ending.
It was. If you listen to this from A to B and go through the songs and you hit number 10, track 10, it's like in my head, I'm like, wow, this is the perfect effing ending for this album.
Awesome.
Nice.
So you talked about that. I want to bring that up. How did you determine the flow of this album? How did you, select what song goes where? In the realm that you can explain it. I don't expect every minute detail, but kind of overall, how did you select the song order for this record? It was really well done.
Oh, that's good. We always struggle with it, actually, don't we? And so we often have to get other people to do it, and then we listen through, and we were disagreeing a lot with the album order on this one, weren't we?
We were, yeah. But I think also, I think it was a case of what we tend to do, like Grace was saying, we listen to it and what flows, and it literally, we like to have like the ups and downs rather than all being up and then a down. It's just like the ups and downs throughout a thing, and we're trying to tell a story throughout the whole album, and we think we've created that again.
Then By Your Side was in my mind, we were sitting in the camper van next to the river at the studio, and that was just us singing to each other. So it was kind of
we sang that so quietly, didn't we?
And I have a note here about that particular song because it struck a chord with me. One of my favorite all-time artists of all time is Sade. Love Sade.
Right.
And she had a song years ago called By Your Side. And it is so sweet. And it is it is a sweet melody. It is a sweet song. The lyrics melt your heart. And I was thinking to myself when I listened to this record, I said, I'll be damned. There's a second By Your Side that hits the same notes that Sade's did. Oh, because it was so sweet, and it has the same title. Go listen to Sade's. And it's called By Your Side. And it's an amazing song, and your guys' song is just as amazing. So shout out to Sade if you're listening somewhere.
Definitely.
But I had that in my notes here to bring up. That's the second By Your Side song that I thought really struck a chord with me. And you're right, it was a sweet, soft. It's kind of you guys just talking to each other. And I loved it.
Nice.
I loved it. So another song that I really liked is the title track. And that title track is the name of the album, Aces Are High. So what made that song stand out to be the title track and name your album?
It literally meant that we feel like our aces are high. Like from the start of our musical career to where we are now, we've literally like put everything into it, and we just feel that right now that everything that we have put into it has come up trumps kind of thing. So we're literally playing our hand everything's on the table, and this is who we are, and our races are high.
And with our first album, We Fly Free, we felt like we'd worked with some people and had a few weird experiences, but we had like self-imposed limitations with what we couldn't do with our music. It's kind of a weird, probably happens a lot to people, like where you think you can't do certain things or musically, and we were very like, so We Fly Free was us, like the Uprising EP was us like, okay, let's do this, let's have an uprising. And then it was We Fly Free was, right, we're gonna be free to, you know, do what we want. Saving Grace was us, like the music was our saving grace. It was saving us.
That's right. And Innocence of Youth was the other EP, which was literally talking about basically our innocence within the industry, naivety, and the mistakes that we'd made and we'd overcome and things like that.
And now like Aces Are High is literally our luck is in. We've like we feel like we've achieved so much as people. It's weird.
Right.
It's kind of very it's good.
Well, from a you know, kind of an outsider looking in, like I said, I wasn't on the ground floor when you guys came out and, you know, started catching fire. And the way, you know, and I said this in the other podcast, the way I was introduced to you was from an Instagram ad to pick up an EP for free. And nice. I said, oh yeah, free EP, sure. Ordered it, listened to it, and I said, oh, I got to contact these guys. I got to get them on the podcast. So you guys have done it, in my mind, you've done it the right way. You know, you're independent. You control what you do. I love that. You know, a lot of the artists that I listen to are independent artists, like ZZ Ward. She's independent now. You know, and my other favorite, Jen Wigmore, she's independent. And it's, for a listener, I can tell that there isn't like studio interference, if that's the right terminology. You're putting out there what you want to put out there.
Absolutely.
It's good stuff, man, and ladies. But it's amazing. Another question I had from the album cover itself is I love the image. And you know, for people who are watching the podcast, not listening to it, this is an awesome image. I love the image of you two. And I do want to ask you, where was this taken?
So this place was an old electric company up in Derby, which is right in the center of England. And it just so happens that the photographer, Rob Blackham, a big shout out to Rob Blackham.
Yeah, he's done our last 2 album covers.
Yeah.
So.
He, as he was there, because he came from that part of the world, and we didn't know this at the time. Anyway, so after we had the photo shoot, he went round his mum's and he said, oh, yeah, I've just been to this really cool place and took photos and whatever else. And his mum said, do you know what? Your granddad worked there his entire life. And it's like,
and he didn't know.
And he didn't know.
Oh, wow.
It was meant to be.
Worked in that warehouse.
In that warehouse,
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
That is pretty damn cool, actually, with that backstory. So, and it's an amazing shot too. And can you say the photographer's name again?
Rob Blackham.
Rob Black. Yeah, he did a fantastic job.
Yeah, he's so good. And we've done a 2 or 3 shoots with Rob now. Yeah. And he's
he's really.
He tells us what to do, which we like. Because
we haven't got a clue what we're doing.
Right, guys, do this. Hold there. We're like, great.
Stand still. Look there. That sort of thing. Yeah.
Well, he did a great job. You guys look like you're focused and you're going somewhere. I don't know where you're going, but you're going somewhere. And you know, you've got that look of confidence, which is half the battle. So it's awesome. One other thing I want to note to the listening audience and people who are watching it, who can see it on YouTube, they have lyrics in here.
Totally.
Yeah, you can read the lyrics inside of the album jacket. So it's another bonus. Love it. Well, I'm so glad you guys came back on the show. If I know you've recently done some shows, right? Can you talk about that a little bit and what, you know, if you have any touring plans coming up, so my listening audience can find you if they're in your part of the woods? And I did watch your live stream last night, and you're talking about maybe coming to the United States one day. If you do, I definitely want to get to a show. But what's your touring schedule right now? How's that shaping up for you?
So we've got UK headline tour dates. They are booked for spring, so they're all on sale. We're going to be doing some more autumn UK headline tour dates. We're going to be doing a lot more in Europe next year. So we've got a lot of festivals, some headline shows going on out there, which is great. That's the first time we'll have played on mainland Europe. So that's very exciting. And we potentially will be coming to America next year, but like I was saying, we're independent, so there's so much planning goes into everything. We're going to do our very best to get out there, but if not, it will definitely be 2025 will be coming.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, if you come to the US and you hit the southeastern region, anywhere from Florida to North Carolina, I'll be at the show. So
nice.
Thank you.
Definitely.
And if you're, if you make it to South Carolina, you can stop by the house. We will cook you dinner. We'll take you to dinner.
Oh wow, we're definitely coming.
Yeah, we'll take it.
But you guys are amazing, and I've got all the respect in the world for you because you're doing it the hard way, and I really respect that, especially as musical artists. You're not taking shortcuts. You could have easily sent that album out subpar, but you did not. And that says a lot about your character. And I think you guys are amazing.
Thank you.
That's
very kind. Thank you.
Well, I mean it. I really do. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to let you promote anything you want to promote. I'm going to put everything in the liner notes below. So people, please go check out When Rivers Meet. I urge you to go check them out. They're amazing people, amazing humans. So talk about your social media, where we can find your stuff, and I'll make sure the links are below.
Yeah, so we've got our brand new studio album, Aces Are High, on multiple colours of vinyl as well as CDs. It actually reached, in week 1, we reached number 9 in the UK official album charts, which was so cool.
So cool.
We do ship worldwide as well. So if you're in the States or wherever you are, we ship all over the world. Yep. And we've also got a live album coming out next month as well. Nice. From our tour that we've just finished. Yeah. We often stream on Facebook, stream live. We done a Facebook live last night. So we're on Facebook, Instagram, all of the social media platforms. So you should find us somewhere.
Well, yeah, and I'll make sure on my end that all the links are there. People can find you, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's something I had in my notes, and it just glossed right over it. I didn't say it; you just said it. Number 9. How did that feel when you saw that? That had to be amazing.
Well,
it was proper nail biting stuff because we had a couple of people who have access to the system, like in the industry, who can actually see the charts how they're doing on a daily basis. And so we had people emailing us and saying, okay, guys, you're now sitting at number 8. So when we first heard about the midweek charts, we were number 4. Yeah. And then when the chart got
was in the morning.
Yeah, by the time it was published in the afternoon, we were 6.
So we thought, well, that's it. We're going to be like 30, 40
the streaming giants were coming in with millions of streams, and so we were like clinging on, like did you download guys CDs? And then we made number 9. So incredible.
We just want to say a big thank you to everybody that supported us, who bought the albums, who bought the digi downloads, the CDs and the vinyl, because the people that done that made it happen. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and I think I do remember you guys saying that was part of it. When you released it, you had to release everything to impact the rankings, so to speak. So it had to be all at once, and I get that. So, but yeah, great record. I'm super happy for you, and I'm super proud for you. And I think you guys are amazing.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
And awesome. I do thank you for spending time with me on the podcast. I do, normally I'll talk an hour, 2 hours, but I want to be very respectful of your time because I know you're in a different time zone. And I think you had kids, don't you? I think I saw some kids the last time.
A dog, which we
dog. Okay, no. Okay, maybe that was it. But yeah, I've got a beagle sitting over here. But anyway, I do appreciate you guys joining me once again. With that, you're very welcome.
Thank you.
With that, I'll conclude this week's episode of Backstage 421, the Musicians Only podcast. I am small town horror author Charles Campbell. Go pick up a copy of The Piano Witch, which is available right now at valleyboypublications.com. And you can find me on Facebook, Backstage 421. I also host a horror podcast called Horror 421, the podcast. You can find a Facebook page for that as well. You can find everything at valuablepublications.com. And we'll see you next time on Backstage 421, the Musicians Only podcast. Thank you. All right. Thank you, guys.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Backstage 421, the Musicians Only podcast. Be sure to tune in for the next episode. Please like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Listener support links can be found below. Thank you for your support.